to this. When I'm talking about a divorce and a marriage, I'm talking about men and women that have married and procreated and had children. Once the children are involved, you have to stay no matter what.
That's where the commitment. That's when those things kick in.
Yes.
But I guess what I was going to ask is so leaving the partnership dissolving because of the lack of those things. I could imagine that. But do you also
the partnership dissolves because the lack of effort from the individuals to
their lack of commitment
to the relationship.
Yeah, but
they didn't mean it.
Right.
Love, honor, and cherish. He didn't mean it.
Right.
Love, honor, and cherish from her. She didn't mean it. She only meant it under certain conditions. Now, let's not get crazy. Of course, in a physically abusive relationship where one partner is threatening the life of the other or physically harming someone, of course, it's common sense that they would separate and get away from one another. But it's still, nobody asked the question, well, how did you marry somebody that ended up being, like, what, you got hoodwinked? You didn't know? I say, to your point, what you tried to get me to talk about a minute ago, bullshit. You knew. You just pretended he wouldn't do it to you, or you pretended she wouldn't do it to you. You knew.
So do you think that the failure the idea that you didn't mean it, that makes me ask, so does a failure commitment happen? Like, do you think that the person was always intending, like, is it a failure right when they speak the words, or is the failure like later on? When a commitment is broken,
yes.
Was it net? Do you think we can conclude?
Well, how do you
go back and say, like,
how do you break a vow you took before God? How do you break that? Because one person left?
I would guess.
I would say that's an erroneous guess.
No, I was going to say I would guess because you don't believe in God would be my big guess to answer that question.
I'm talking about the people that took the vow in front of God, that asked God to be there. Their God of their understanding, not my God,
sure.
Not a Christian or Buddhist. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
By and large, people. Well, that's the other thing. People want to water the vows down now, and they want to talk about, how you make me feel, and you swept me off my feet, and I promised to.
Yeah.
Well, those aren't really vows. Those are just feelings that are being expressed. Vows are love, honor, and cherish until we die. That's a vow. I'm vowing that. No matter what. Goodness, sickness, and in health. Good times and bad times. I'm going to stick it out with you. I'm joining my mess to your mess, and we're going to make a better mess out of the two messes. Hopefully, that's the intention of every couple. But going in knowing that they've done what I like to call their due diligence. See, the time to do your due diligence isn't after you get married. And everybody wants to pretend that they didn't do their due diligence before they got married. And I think that's bullshit. I think you knew you were marrying that, you saw it, and you said to yourself, but they won't do it to me. And that's just ego. Or as I like to say, it's, ego and echo, Dolores and Joyce. The conversation that exists in our minds, which has really nothing to do with who we are. It's just a conversation that goes on in our heads. And the more we listen to the conversation, the more we start to make decisions based on what our ego and echo are talking about.